Hey guys, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. So I want to talk a little bit about manifesting. I just got done, if you've been following or you know me, then you know I just got done manifesting a vehicle. And so I want to kind of just talk about some points and what I did in order to help you to work with the law of attraction and manifesting what you want, because that's part of also healing the false self. Once we step out of the false self, there's a part in there where we need to learn to work with manifesting what we do want, right? Because we need to replace it with something. So not that we need to, but we're wanting to get out of our old situation in order to get into a new situation, right? So the progression and the path of that allows us the opportunity to bring in something that we do want. And if we're conscious and allowing, then we can create something that we do want versus continuing to experience what we don't want. So when this shift happened, for me, I've been working on manifesting traveling, getting a new vehicle, and just more freedom, and happiness. So and that was my point. So in the process of that, my car was not a part of that anymore, because my car had old stuff attached to it, right? I got it in a divorce, right? So there was still old energy there attached to that vehicle that was no longer matched to where I was going, what I wanted to do. So it ended up shifting out. And granted, it was old, but it was still running good until all of a sudden it just died, right? So what to do after that, I put out in the universe, that I wanted a new vehicle, and I was thinking about a van and really kind of trying to pinpoint that. I could have gotten a van and converted it myself, but I was thinking, okay, what is the truth about that? What's the reality of that? Because I don't know electricals, and yes, I could learn it, but is it something I really want to do? And then I was like, well, and I can just buy one already done. And then the reality of that came in and was like, well, that it costs a lot of money, right? Not that I couldn't manifest that, but it costs a lot of money to have it done the way I wanted it done. So could I did a cross mix and then done both, have somebody do the electrical and then I do the rest? Possibly. Did I really want to do it? Yeah, not really, which motivated me enough to do it. So my other options, right, to look at were what's going on in the world around us, right? Gas is high. Still in the midst of the pandemic situation, the arguments, the issues about having, your vaccine versus a mask, and, I just don't want to participate in that. And then the other reality that was part of that, looking at all the pieces, how do I support myself along this journey, right? So I found what was called Cool Works, and that is where you can get a job every 3 months and move from place to place, working in the state parks, things like that, in their shops, in the restaurants. And even there, because it is government, state-related businesses that is associated with the parks, they have control of things, and that is related to the pandemic situation. So most of them were making you get either your shot or wearing masks all day, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not into that. Don't want a part of that reality. So I declined that and then went back to work. So what was my next step, right? So taking into account to all these situations, yes, granted, we're working on manifesting things, but we still have to contemplate everything else that's going on around us, because everything is a moving piece. Everything has a part in it. And, so I was packed and ready, got rid of all my stuff. I was on my way to start working with the parks. And then when I found out about, wearing the mask all day, getting the vaccine, I put the brakes on because I was just about there. I had gotten rid of all my stuff. I had packed all my car up, took the back seats out, and so I was like, stop, brake, no, right? So the manifestation was already in progress, but I put the brakes on. So I didn't go, obviously, because I'm still here. So what was my next step, right? What was I going to do? So I had no car, and I was okay with getting an electric bike, but you know what? I really didn't want to do that because I like going to get my groceries at a certain store, which is far away. I eat healthy and organic, and didn't have any of those near me. So like, I need a car. It's obvious. So, okay, what was my next step? So I was taking a look at all the vehicles that are out there now, and with the situation that we're in the world, there's not much to pick from. So my idea was, well, let me order one because prices are skyrocketing because they don't have the inventory that they normally do. Sorry about the shaking. So they don't have the inventory, and they're trying to get these used cars turned in, because whatever their issue is with the used cars, maybe to resell them because they're not getting them in, so they're kind of panicking. So I'm on these websites looking at, the websites, what kind of car do I want, what do I like, and the only ones that I put in to the universe, because I know the universe knows what I like. And I know the universe knows what makes me happy. So my only straight up demands were white. It has to be an SUV, sort of. And it has to be roomy, so I can put stuff in the back. I can go camping or whatever it is that, I want to be able to do, right? So, sorry, I got little buggies. So at that point, I was like, okay, it has to be affordable for me in my what's going on, and it has to be white, has to be roomy, and I don't want a car. I like to sit up high, So those are my own real demands. And as I was looking at it, it was interesting because nobody had any of them on their lot. So I was like, all right, let me go and see who does, and I'll go test drive one. They had one of what I ended up getting, the vehicle, but it was in black. So I was like, okay, well, just for fun, right? Because we need to make manifesting fun. I was like, let's just go order one. And when it comes in, I'll test drive it and just play around with it and manifest it while I'm doing it. Because part of it is actually being in that space before it actually manifests fully. So even if it is just test driving it, if we can't imagine it in our minds, right, we go test drive it, or we go pretend like we're looking at houses, and like we're really actually doing it, right? It's to pretend, and then that helps to bring it in more. So that's what I did. I went and looked at the black one, went in there and ordered the white one. And while I'm waiting for the white one to come in, because they said it would be a couple of months, because something with the chip and, having everything shipped in right now. So I was like, all right, whatever, just do it, because I was just playing, right? So I left the weekend after. Now, this is within a month span. The week after, I went looking at other vehicles to different dealers in the area, and still nothing, just, playing the role, pretending, and just manifesting, right? Just being in that energy, okay? Then, it was funny because the following weekend, I was like, no, it has to be white, right? So the following weekend, I ended up going to this favorite park of mine that I'm in actually right now. And you'll see me in a lot of my other videos. So this whole park was full of white vehicles because, I had also gone out and test drove a van, right, to see if it's something that I was comfortable with, and I was. So, and I also had visions of me actually when I was driving my SUV, that I was in the van. So it was manifesting, right? It was in the reality. It was manifesting. So these are things we want to be aware of, right? And being conscious and present, you know, we can become aware of it, right? And that's the thing. It's just being mindful and aware, present moment. So I come to the park that morning. I was like, get up and go, you know. And so I'm here at the park, and every car here, about 98% of the cars were white. So I had a white car in every kind that was here. It was so funny because I was like, oh my God, it's manifesting, right? So, and for me, it was more easier to manifest a vehicle than it was a van, right? Because there was a lot of reservations around the van, right? And so the car was more in alignment, more quicker to manifest for me. So I was like, okay, it's the car then. So let's go with that. Next thing I know, I was like, okay, keep putting it back out to the universe. I'm okay with that. And just making light of it. You know, all the cars here are white. So knowing where I am with that. The next thing, the week after, I decided to go to outside of the area that I was going in, because everybody on their lot, either they didn't want to share that there were other vehicles around in the area that was like theirs, or they just don't have any clue. But right down the street from a place that said, oh, there's no Renegades anywhere around here, you know, I went to I was guided to go to an Enterprise car sales, right? And I remember that from my brother, because he had done that. He had brought a car from the Enterprise rentals. And so that was imaged into my mind, and I was like, okay, let me go check that out. So these are inspirations that I get from universe and my guides, right? So when I see that, I move and I act on it. Okay, so I went down to go test drive a Renegade that was at the Enterprise car dealer, which was right down from the Renegade dealer that I was talking to. And they're like, oh, there's none of these in miles, you know, that you can test drive and then order it, because that was my idea. I was like, okay, let me go test drive it somewhere and then come back and order a new one in white, in what I wanted, because I don't believe in going to a dealer and just buying what's there. I believe in going to the website and ordering in exactly what I want it to be, because if I'm paying money, I want it to be what I want it to be. I'm not going to pay because it's on their lot and because that's what they have. And you don't have to be stuck with that. So don't fall into that. Don't believe that is only your options, right? Be smart about it. Order a car if you need to. So what if it takes a few months, right? Do that, get the price you want, and they, you know, all the bells and whistles that you want. Do it that way, right? And that's what I did, because that's what I believe. So I went down to test drive the Renegade at the Enterprise, and I didn't like it, right? Not enough room, didn't feel right. Yeah, I was like, nah, don't want it. So I left there, but on my way down to test drive the Renegade at the Enterprise, I actually looked over, I got the inspiration to look over the highway and down at the Ford dealer that was to the left of me. And so when I did, right up in the front row was the exact vehicle that I had ordered in the beginning that I wanted, that was white. It was perfect. It was the same thing. And so after I got done with the Renegade, I went around, you know what, I'm going to go over and check it out just for the heck of it, just for the fun of it. It's there, I can test drive it and manifest it more, right? So pull in there, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, damn, this is the same exact thing I was going to order, right? Or I did order, and I was just waiting for it to come in. And it was so funny because the guy comes up to me and he's like, let's go check this out. And I was like, okay, so let's go check it out and see what he could offer me for it, right? So I had to move places because somebody was coming to utilize the space I was sitting in to make this video. But Yeah, I test drove the Renegade, didn't like it, and then I decided to go over across the street and get in the vehicle that I had ordered in the beginning. And it was the same exact vehicle. And when the guy came up to me, he's like, yeah, you know, some people have been after this vehicle all morning and nobody's been able to get it. And, you know, whether it was payments or price or credit scores, they just couldn't get it. And, you know I don't have the best credit score, but I was like, well, let's try it. You know, just playing around, manifesting, right? Staying in that energy. And so we go inside and he goes, yeah, and the woman who had actually ordered this vehicle, because it is a base model, wasn't able to get it once they got here. And I was like, that's funny. I just ordered the same vehicle up the road, like almost 3.5 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago. And so I get, we go in and we run the credit and all that, and they're like, they came back with, you know, an approval for me. And I was like, get out. This is so crazy. But as I'm going through all this, you know, I'm paying attention. I'm in the presence. I'm in the moment. And I'm listening for signs and guides and inspirations, and I'm following it. That's the important thing. A lot of people are like, I'm putting it out there and manifesting, and I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting any leads. I'm not getting anywhere with this. The question, ask yourself, are you paying attention? Are you listening to the signs? Are you following your inner guidance? You know, because throughout this whole thing, I got the inspiration. You know, I was seeing myself actually driving a new vehicle, okay, when I was driving my old vehicle, right? And I know I'm intuitive and psychic, and I have that ability, so I have that. But if I'm not present, then I'm not aware of it, right? Whether I'm psychic or not, okay? I see rainbows, and I do see rainbows in numerology and synchronicity. I see rainbows even when there's not. So when I'm looking, I'm paying attention, you know, all in my space, right? Because those are personal signs to me. Like I see rainbows and they're out there, and they show up when I'm manifesting because it's in a different realm. The rainbows are in a different realm, right? And that's how I see them. I do see the ones that are physically manifested, but I know if it's not in the physical, it means it's not happening. If I see it and it's in a different realm, then I know it's manifesting, okay? So symbology comes through your third eye, your intuition, and your other guidances. The inspiration to get up and go test drive a Renegade out of nowhere, right? I followed it. I did it, right? And on my journey there, I seen the car that I now have that I wanted in the beginning, sitting there along the highway, which nobody's, and I looked online, there was no white vehicle online, right? And it's because they had just gotten it, and I had just gotten that inspiration to go that morning, right? And the right timing, right place, right timing, and right, you know, experience. So when we have these clues, these inspirations, these signs, you know, we need to follow it. And then that's how we get to where we need to be, to get the thing that we're trying to manifest, right? Instead of focusing on, I still don't have it, you know, where is it? I'm not seeing, I'm not getting any signs. We have to be present, right? And have awareness and stay connected, raising your vibration, you know. Don't talk to other people, shut out the naysayers, don't listen to what other people have to say. You know, don't share your story that you're working on manifesting until it's manifested with others, because they will talk you out of it. They'll be like, oh, no, no, no. You know what I mean? Don't listen to any of that, and don't share it. Keep working on what you're working on. The other thing is, you know, I got the guidances and I followed it, right? The rainbows, the signs, the synchronicity. I even tuned in to my higher self, and my higher self was, no, not yet. No, not yet. No, not yet. And I listened, you know. I didn't keep forcing it, you know. Did it mean it didn't cross my mind? No, it did cross my mind, but I didn't force it. I didn't keep trying to go out and get it, trying to go out and get it, trying to go out and get it. But at that time, I was just listening to my inner guidance, and as I was listening to my inner guidance, I was following that. Some guy is looking at my vehicle as we're talking now, so obviously he's enjoying it, but they're playing skip rope right behind me. But I'm gonna have to move shortly because I'm going to a different park to check it out, so they're not gonna be happy about that, but that's okay. But anyway, yeah, it was really interesting in manifesting it, because it was, seeing all the cars in the parking lot that were white. It was following the guidances, tuning into my higher self, and my higher self was not telling me not yet. And then when it was time, I got the inspiration to just get up and go drive down to the Enterprise and test drive it and then go back to order it. But that was just to get me to see this at the other Ford dealer, because it wasn't online to any of them. So sometimes you have to follow that, right? And sometimes you might get, I know it's out there, but I might have to go down to the next town to see it, or I might have to go somewhere else to see it, and step out of the same routines and patterns that you're in order to see it or get it, right? So I hope that's been helpful, but being present and in the moments is going to be very helpful, when you're manifesting things, and whether it's a car, whatever you're working on in your life, a better relationship, a house, whatever it is, there's that part of it, right? So just wanted to share some of that insight, and on the other things that I'm working on manifesting, because I still want to go on my trip, and I'm going to be working on that, manifesting that. I do have a lot of room in here, so I am going to work on manifesting, like a tent and other things that's going to help me to get on the road and on the trip, and also manifesting the abundance to come in to support me on my trip. All right, so if you have any questions on manifesting or want help with any of that, any clarity on working with the law of attraction, and fine-tuning what it is that you really want, and going through the decision-making process, you can book a coaching session with me, and we can work on that together. All right, happy journeys.